If you've ever wondered what this hobby actually looks like from month to month, well, this episode is probably the best snapshot you'll get because we're sharing the biggest move we've made so far this year, from earning hundreds of thousands of points and taking advantage of transfer bonuses before they disappeared to buying points when the math made sense. Then we'll show you how all of that translates into real travel with a long weekend in Charleston, where we talk about Breeze the airline and flying it for the first time, where we stayed on points, and eating our way through one of our newfound favorite food cities in the country. Welcome to the BoldlyGo Podcast. I'm your host, DeAndre Koch, along with my wife and co-host, Taryn Gisbert. Before we get into this show today, a few housekeeping reminders. As always, you can catch all of these episodes in their entirety on our YouTube channel. And for those of you that watch our episodes on YouTube, don't forget on our audio-only platform, so Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we do have our quick hits that come out every Friday. That's going to be the week's news in the world of points, miles, and travel, so you don't want to miss out on that. We do have our podcast library as well. It's linked in the description if you want to go through our library and check out any of the content that we have. If you want to search for best opportunities in the Maldives or Fiji or New Zealand or families or whatever it may be, you can find all of that there. And we do have our timestamps also, so you can skip ahead or backwards if you want to go ahead and do that for any single episode. And wherever you are watching this or listening to this, please, as always, don't forget to give us a like. A rating, a 5-star review would be great as well, and we would always appreciate you listening.
So one of the most common questions we get is, what cards are you opening right now? Or what are you doing with your points and miles these days? So a couple of times a year, we like to pull back the curtain and share exactly what's happening in our own points and miles strategy. The cards we're applying for, the offers we're taking advantage of, the transfers we're making, and even some of the mistakes or pitfalls that we're trying to avoid. Now, this isn't meant to be a list of cards that everyone should go apply for. Our situation is going to be different from yours, just like strategy. So instead, we hope that these episodes help you understand the thought process behind the decisions that we make and maybe give you some ideas that you can apply to your own travel goals. So today we are sharing our mid-year points and miles update, including some huge welcome bonuses, a couple of transfer opportunities that may never come back, and a few strategic moves that have already set us up for some pretty incredible trips down the road.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and start with the cards that we've opened so far this year. I know I've covered many of these in our quick hits that come out on Fridays and a little bit of the thought process there, but we're going to put all of them together here right now. So the first one I think that has been one of the cards I'm most excited about is the Bilt Palladium card. I know there was so much just issues and things when Bilt rolled out with it that really was on Bilt, but in essence, this card has been fantastic. I know, Taryn, you have the Capital One Venture X that gets you 2x on everything. I've never had a 2x card, so I really love having a 2x card now. And the transfer partners I think that Bilt has is probably the best in the game at this point. I think they've actually gone past Chase as far as having the best transfer partners. So it was a 50,000 point welcome offer, nothing super exciting there. Shout out to our WhatsApp community for finding a few different unique spending opportunities within the ecosystem with Bilt. You know, we've been able to find opportunities to earn points pretty quickly, and the fact that Bilt points you pretty much earn as soon as you spend it, as soon as your transaction happens. We've been able to do a lot of interesting things. I've talked on the show before, we just got a home standby generator put in, and so we basically, as soon as we got the card, was the same time that this generator deposit and final payment were needed. And the thing I love the most is that the generator installation company actually accepted credit cards and even more so did not charge a credit card fee to process it. And probably the funniest thing of all of that is the guy that was selling us the generator tried to explain the value of credit card miles. He's like, make sure to use your best airline or points cards or whatever it may be. And I was like, we will definitely do that.
Little does he know.
I know. Little does he know who he was talking to. But of course, I was like, yes.
We got to appreciate it.
We do.
Other points enthusiasts, we open our hearts to them.
We can absolutely appreciate that as well. So I think that was probably one of the cards I was most excited about because as soon after getting that, Bilt had that 100% transfer to Japan Airlines. I know Taryn, Japan has been on both of our bucket lists to get to, and I now have a strategy in mind, but we only have 3 years since, I think, from February to use this. Maybe it was March. 3 years. I feel like we're going to do it because I know you're trying to do all the things in Japan.
Yeah, we're going to do the things in Japan. Only 3 years. Like, we are not going to get to the end of 3 years. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, so in the time that I had the card, I basically was able to get around 90,000 Bilt points, and 50 of that was from the sign-up bonus, the 50K. And a lot of that spend was with their accelerator that gets you 3x on purchases up to $5,000 5 times. So basically 3x on up to $25,000 of spend. So that's where most of our points have come from on the Bilt card. I transferred 90,000 over to Japan Airlines with the 100% transfer bonus. So we have around 180,000 points sitting at Japan Airlines. I'm not going to stress over getting those 55K saver awards for business class. I feel very confident we'll be able to minimally get 110K business class flights to Japan from JFK, and also could get the 85K also. Now, the cool thing is since then, that was pretty much all of our Bilt points. I already have like over 100 and maybe 20,000 Bilt points back now. So the Bilt card has been absolutely awesome. I think it's probably one of my favorite programs now. Now, I know, Taryn, you got the Globe card end of last year, and that's been really good for getting some loyalty points with the 5K bonus and such every 4 flights. And because we connect everywhere, pretty much every trip we take round trip with American gets us 5,000 loyalty points. So I know you've been enjoying that one.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that card. It's been pretty great. And obviously it replaced RIP to the old Aviator card, which was one of my besties. So it has quickly replaced that in my wallet. And we just have to remember to go use the Admiral's Lounge with that, because we didn't use those last year. And I'm sad.
Yeah, we got them at you got yours at the very end of last year. So I think there was probably 1, maybe 2 opportunities to use them. And for those who don't know, this card comes with 4 Admirals Club passes. And now we typically are flying American, obviously, and most of the American hubs have a Centurion Lounge. So we almost always prioritize the Centurion Lounge because it's a much nicer lounge. Unless it's American flagship, then that's debatable. But when the Centurion Lounge is packed, that's the opportunity for us to go into the Admirals Club. And the one time that we could have done that, because we actually were on the wait list for the Centurion Lounge, I think we just forgot. So that's definitely an opportunity. And so I ended up opening the same card this year, which has been nice. When I opened it, it ended up being a 90,000 mile sign-up offer versus the normal 60,000. And similar to you, we both had the red Aviator card. We both canceled those cards instead of allowing them to change over, because no one really knew if that was going to affect our 524 slots. So we got rid of them. It seems like they weren't affecting anyone's 524 slots, but either way, it's completely fine that those ones are gone. So now we both have the Globe card for American Airlines. And that's a card I think we're going to plan to keep, because we fly American so much that getting up to 15,000 loyalty points is kind of a no-brainer for us. Mm-hmm. And then the next card that I ended up getting this year was the Amex Business Platinum. I mentioned this again on a Quick Hits before, but basically I had another Amex Business Platinum that we hit the 1-year renewal on it. And when the 1 year hit, paid the $8.95 fee, I went ahead and applied for a new Amex Business Platinum to see if I was going to get an acceptance and what the offer would be. It was approved, and it was approved with 250,000 Amex points for a sign-up bonus, which was perfect. So basically what I ended up doing is, because the fee hit, and again, for anyone new to this world, if you cancel a new card within the first year, many banks are going to claw their points back. But if you wait until after it's been a year, so after you see the fee hit and you've paid the fee within 30 days of that, to be very clear, within 30 days of that, if you then cancel the card, they'll fully refund that fee. I believe a lot of places after the 30 days, they might prorate it, but they're not going to fully refund it. So within that 30 days, I went ahead and canceled my old Amex Business Platinum to get this new Amex Business Platinum, which is great because basically I got 250,000 points for a normal renewal. I was going to keep the card anyway, but getting 250,000 points to do so is an absolute win. And then the last card that I got was a Hilton business card. That was part of the promotion that ended back in June 15th, where almost all the Hilton credit cards had elevated offers. So the Hilton business credit card, 150,000 Hilton points plus a free night certificate. Doesn't usually come with a free night certificate, so it was a win for both of those. Very inexpensive card. It's kind of a no-brainer because we've been really loving the Hilton world and properties and getting more and more into that. I know I like to joke, but we've diversified our points portfolio just like we diversify our financial portfolio. So instead of just putting it all on Hyatt, Taryn's got the IHG points, I've got the Hilton points, we have Hyatt as well, so it's been a win across the board for us.
Absolutely. And I also took advantage of opening a Hilton card this year, since we are going to fully commit to that diversification of our portfolio, of course. And it was the Hilton Surpass, which my P1 husband over here told me to open on the very last day of the offer.
Yes, guilty as charged. I was telling everybody and completely forgot to tell you, so I apologize.
Hilarious, right? Because you're like, go open this today. Usually you're like, no rush.
Yes, I'm sorry. I know we have important things going on, but you need to do this today, and like literally today.
Literally, I had to do it that day. But it was a 130,000 point offer with a free night certificate, and then you can earn an additional free night certificate after a $15,000 spend. And another thing that's cool about this card, I know that the Hilton points don't equal Chase and Amex the same way, obviously, but you do get 6 times on restaurants and at the supermarket, which, especially if you're really, committed to Hilton, that could be a really great thing, if that's how you like to travel. I'm probably going to keep this one so we can get that free night certificate every year.
Yeah, I agree as well. I mean, I think there's a strategy, honestly, just with capacity and time and energy. There's definitely a strategy for like upgrading this card to the Aspire and then downgrading and all those different things. As of right now, I think we're just planning to have you stick with this card and kind of go from there. We'll hit the free night certificate each year with it, and then we'll be really set. So we're kind of building up a bank of free night certificates between just the Aspire card that I have, the spend for the Aspire card, the spend for this card, the business card that got the free night, and the Surpass that you just got that has the free night, which again, both of those cards, the one big thing about how that offer was elevated was that neither of these cards come with a free night certificate like they did in that offer, which is why we jumped on it, i.e. I said we have to do this before this day ends.
Exactly. And actually, since January 1st, I've earned 190,000 Hilton points, so we're at I'm at 256,000. Not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I think I'm a little over 750. Now, a lot of that was bought this year, which we're going to get to in just a second.
I was going to say, we're going to get there.
Yeah, but we're Hilton million pointers. Pointer and heirs.
Well, you're the one with that diamond status, not me, but...
At least for Hilton, but you have it for IHG, which also makes sense why you bought those, which we'll get to. Before we get to there, though, let's talk about some transfers that we did before the devaluation. So, Citi thank you points to I Prefer. That was one of the things I was most excited about. I've been actually, my go-to card for the last probably year and a half or so before Bilt was the Citi Premier card, Strata Premier. And the reason why was because I was really wanting to just kind of build up Citi points over time because of the fact that they have some different transfer partners, unique transfer partners, and the preferred hotels program. I really loved the 1-to-4 transfer ratio there, and then of course the 1-to-2 for choice privilege as well. Well, that got nuked down to 1-to-2 and for I Prefer and 1-to-1.5 for choice. So not super great. So a lot of us were kind of talking through like, what does it make sense? What should we transfer? What should we do? I didn't have a ton of Citi points because they're not really easy like Amex and Chase to get a ton of them, and I hadn't opened any other Citi cards outside of some of the airline cards with American Airlines. So what I ended up doing after doing a little bit of research and looking at different properties is we ended up transferring 113,000 Citi points to I Preferred and ended up receiving 452,000 I Prefer points. And my thought process and kind of logic there was most properties, especially their higher end like luxury properties, this was also aided by the research that Greg, the Frequent Miler, did on the Frequent Milers blog. Most of the higher end properties you could book for about 150,000 points a night. So I figured if I transferred these points and got 450,000 points, well, then that gets us about 3 nights at a really nice preferred hotel somewhere in the world. But we do have a clock on when to use them. I believe it's a 24-month expiration policy. And so we'll have to either do something to keep those points active or use them on some of our travels, which I have looked at some places that we're going, but it just hasn't lined up yet. But that's kind of the idea of what we were looking to do there. So let's move on and talk through the points buying, because I know we hinted towards, and I talk about it often, and this is something that when people get brand new into points and miles, I know we talk about nearly free travel and like earn points on all these cards so you don't have to spend as much for your airfare or for your hotels. And it kind of confuses people at times when we talk about buying points, because that goes contrary to the reason why we're trying to earn all these points to transfer to airlines and hotels. But we do buy points every single year. We have the last few years now. So Taryn, what was it that you ended up buying?
Well, obviously, we wanted it to be strategic. So when I saw that I could buy more IHG points, especially I bought 300,000 IHG points and then I received a bonus 300,000. So I've got a total of 600,000 IHG points that I purchased this year. And I'm saving up for a Six Senses trip. And I am currently at 1.1 million points for IHG.
Yes, I know. I've pulled up the site multiple times, the listing of all the Six Senses in the world. So ever since our honeymoon, Taryn's made it very clear that we are reserving our IHG points going forward for Six Senses or anything within the luxury tier, which Kimpton is as well, which we had a great stay at the Kimpton.
And we have one coming up, yeah.
Yeah, and in New York City, so we'll see what that one's like, because I've probably stayed at other Kimptons before, but I just can't put in a thought to it.
In Roatan.
Well, yeah, outside of Roatan.
Oh, okay.
Besides that one, I feel like I've stayed at one in a city before, maybe for like a work meeting, so it didn't connect the same as like just enjoying a trip or a travel. But I'm super excited. I really like IHG properties, and we load the IHG upside on you because you do have IHG Diamond status as well.
Diamond Elite.
Oh, yes. Sorry. You have to correct me. Diamond Elite status specifically. And so for those listening, the key with buying points is you want to buy when the option to buy them gives you 100% or better, which is very rare, but 100% or better bonus. So as you said, Taryn, you bought 300 points, you got 300,000 points in return. So you bought 300,000 points and ended up with 600,000. And the cost for that, when you do it that way, typically ends up being half a cent per point is what you're getting. So if to buy 300,000 points, that typically ends up costing $3,000. And it's the same thing with Hilton. You buy 2,000 Hilton points, it costs you $2,000, but then you get the bonus. So it makes it worthwhile there. But the other key is not just buying, because yes, we're racking up these points and we're saving them for the future, but it's also because we're trying to save them to use them at properties where the cost per night or per point would be double, triple, or quadruple what we spent in points. So maybe we spent $3,000 for a stay that when we turn those points into the stay is going to be worth $10,000. So that's this simple way to explain why the math can work when buying points.
And I love the match. That's what made it worth it.
That's what made it worth it. And then for me, I ended up, as I mentioned, buying Hilton points as well. So Hilton caps you at 240,000. So also I waited for 100% bonus with Hilton, which for both Hilton and IHG, they come around a few times a year. So it's not hard to miss these. But I bought 240,000 points, so that cost $2,400, and ended up receiving 240,000 points, so a total of 480,000 Hilton points overall. One thing to note is that you're typically capped on how many points you can buy per year. For Hilton, it is 240,000 is the most you can buy with the bonus. For IHG, it was 200,000, but I believe it is now 300,000. So we can't buy any more for the year. So you can't just go in and say, hey, I want to buy 1 million points this year and get 2 million points. You are capped per calendar year per person. So just something to keep in mind there as well. But make sure, again, 2 things. You're doing it when there's 100% or possibly better purchase bonus. And then secondly, you're getting more value for your points than you paid for them. I mean, that's in general how you want to think of your points, but especially when you buy it. So, I mean, for the most part, that was where we are at in the year. Again, not a super in-depth analysis. I know I did an episode a couple weeks ago that talked through our thought process and logic around the cards that we have, the cards that we're keeping, all those different things. So we just wanted to share with you what we've done so far in the year, and really curious, does this align with your thought process? Maybe some of the things that you have opened up for your family. Have you bought points yet? Are you into the buying points world or not there yet? That's completely fine, but we want to share with you a little bit of our thought process that helps fuel the travels that we do. And some of these travels had taken us to Charleston. So we actually ended up staying in a Hilton property that we ended up booking with using my free night certificate from the Aspire card, as well as 100,000 points to stay there for 2 nights. And so we're going to do a little bit of a recap of our trip there. And because this was a really unique trip for multiple reasons. A, we were kind of playing around with both the Hyatt stay, flying Breeze, Hilton stay, but also we had a lot of incredible food.
Oh, yes, we did. And I have to say, if you didn't know, I love oysters. I love caviar. And there was no shortage of either of these things when we were in Charleston. So I was a very happy girl. And I was having a lot of really fancy things to eat. So I was extremely happy. And I am also a huge fan of the Bravo show Southern Charm and then Southern Hospitality, old school. So there were some places that I have been eyeing for years that I was dying to go to when we actually finally went to Charleston to try everything. But I loved the food. It was fantastic everywhere, and we're going to get into where we went for sure. Did you want to do that before we got into the Breeze? I thought we were going to talk about our airline first.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we ended up flying direct on Breeze, and we kind of had some time constraints with this. This was kind of thrown at us last minute. We were going down there to evaluate a little bit of a business opportunity, and so we were like, hey, we got to get to Charleston to go. And so it wasn't the most planned out months in advance, finding the right points deal. This was 2, maybe 3 weeks ahead of actually getting there. And again, we usually like to fly American Airlines. Well, from where we live in Virginia, there were no direct flights to Charleston, so we would have to have a connection through American Airlines, typically through Charlotte or whatever it may be. Well, instead of going in, because we were going to fly in Friday morning, ended up seeing that by flying out Thursday night, there was a direct flight from our airport, Norfolk, Virginia, to Charleston on Breeze that was cheaper than flying on American Airlines. Not dramatically cheap. It wasn't like Spirit Airlines cheap, but it was inexpensive, relatively at least. And we flew in. It was like a 9 p.m. flight, so it was the latest flight I've ever taken out of our airport. And it got in around 11 maybe into Charleston. And we got a Hyatt place right outside the airport on points, which was nice as well. So we kind of modified. I think that's the great thing about points is it allows us to modify our travels a little bit to find something that can be a little bit more efficient as well. And we ended up flying direct back home from Breeze as well. And what I really love, I know Breeze is not really probably well known, but they actually won, I think is either America or North America's Airline of the Year by the same international airport award, organization that awards lounges around the world, airports around the world. I think Qatar's won #1 airline in the world multiple times by the same organization. So Breeze is, they have an interesting way to do their schedule, but they're a really cool airline.
I mean, the plane was really new. It was much cleaner than I'd say a lot of the other big brand planes. It felt lighter. It felt a little flimsy, I'm not going to lie. But overall, it was a good experience, especially because we have so few opportunities to fly direct ever. So it was, honestly, I was impressed. And I was a little skeptical and a little nervous, but I thought it was actually a really great thing. And I'd love to go back to Charleston, do a little weekend, just fly direct, go through Breeze. I know we don't get our status and everything, which is sad, but it wasn't too bad. It was actually, pretty convenient. I don't know that I want to do it all the time though.
For sure. That was my second time flying. The first time was coming back from my bachelor party because Breeze actually flies direct for us from Vegas, which is kind of wild. And so it was a really great experience.
I also had the opportunity, I didn't take it, for my bachelorette to go direct to St. Augustine using Breeze, but I didn't want to risk it even though it was a huge cost savings versus flying American and connecting somewhere else. And I ended up getting super delayed and kicking myself because some of our friends who took Breeze from, Norfolk, they were there. They had no issues. It was so much cheaper. And it was the first time I was really kicking myself because I just was nervous. If that flight got canceled, then I was stuck. And that is the risk with some of these flights, is that they only have them every so often. Or once a day. So it's not like you can rebook on Breeze later that day. You're going to kind of be out or have to transfer to a different airline. And I didn't take it, and I regretted it after that. So I had that one opportunity, and I think it makes sense when you're going to another, not necessarily smaller, Vegas isn't small, but St. Augustine and Charleston, these are places that we can actually go direct and not have to make it a whole day to get there because we're transferring in layovers. So, I think if I went back to St. Augustine, I also would probably gamble on Breeze again.
Hey everyone, quick break from the episode. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're listening on so you never miss an episode. And if you've gotten any value so far, it would mean the world if you left a quick rating or review. It helps more people discover the show and keeps us motivated to keep creating great content. Also, if you're feeling stuck or want help with points and miles, whether it's picking your first card, planning a big redemption, or even having someone book it all for you, we've got you covered. There's a link in the show notes to schedule a free points and miles consultation. Just fill out a quick questionnaire, tell us your goals, and we'll take it from there. And don't forget, our newsletter and private Facebook group are great ways to stay on top of breaking news, updated card offers, and tips that don't always make it into the podcast. You'll find those links in the show notes as well. Now, back to the episode. Yeah, you have to be really smart if you're flying Breeze. I think preferably if you're flying them, if you can, fly carry-on only without checking a bag in case there is an issue. Because as you said, Taryn, the way their flight routing works, the plane that goes from Vegas to Norfolk could then be going up north to Islip in New York and then going over to Ohio, and there's just never another Breeze flight coming in or out, or from Vegas at least as an example. So we did have a backup plan because if for some reason our 9 p.m. Breeze flight wasn't going to fly or wasn't going to go, we lived 10 minutes from the airport, so we would literally just went home, and then we were going to take a 5 a.m. American Airlines flight out the next morning. So we did have a backup plan. So I do encourage, if you do fly Breeze, they have a great schedule, but if an issue does happen, you can be kind of SOL, so you want to protect yourself there. But I will also say what caught us a little bit off guard, and apparently this is just the way they do it, because we were in the lounge on our way back from Charleston. We were in the lounge at the whatever lounge it was. I think it was the Centurion Lounge or something like that. And we left the lounge when boarding was supposed to start, maybe 5 minutes before, and we got to the gate as they were final boarding call.
That was crazy. I was not used to that. That did surprise me.
Yeah, and so because we were planning on using the bathroom, doing all the things, waiting for our zone to be called. And so I actually went up to the person because I remembered when we left for our flight from Norfolk, they also boarded early and had final boarding call way earlier than normal. We just kind of sat on the plane. And so I guess what Breeze's process is they assume most people are sitting at the gate. So they're going to board the plane when the pilot is ready, basically. And they're going to board everybody. They still do their zones, but they're going to board everybody. And you still have the right to get to the plane before your boarding cutoff time, but if they fully board everyone, they don't wait the 20 minutes left for the 10-minute countdown or whatever it may be. They'll close the doors. The pilots will ask the air traffic control for clearance to leave early, and they will go, which I don't think I've seen before, which I think is both pretty cool, but can be a little bit scary if you're why are they saying final boarding call when we're supposed to have 20 more minutes?
That gave me a lot of anxiety, I'm not going to lie. So I'm glad that I know that now for flying Breeze specifically, because I about had a heart attack and I was like, oh my gosh, we almost missed our plane, which has not happened to me yet. So it will one day.
One day, but not yet.
Not yet. It's going to happen. Statistically, it's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And I really thought for a minute, oh my gosh, are we late? How? How are we late?
Yeah.
But they took off early and on time, and I guess it's not a bad thing to be just ready early before your, slot, because then you have less margin of error, I guess, with getting delayed if there is an issue.
For sure. And the last thing I'll say about it is I'm a huge fan, and Taryn knows I talk about this all the time. She gets annoyed about it. But the Flighty app is the best travel app in the absolute world. It's absolutely insane how good it is. And now it has predictive AI in it as well that will even tell you, especially for international countries, we have to wait for it to tell you what gate you're going to be at. It actually can predict now like the range of your gate. Like it's probably going to be A1 through 5 or something like that. It's so amazing. If you have an iPhone, because it's iPhone only, you have to have the Flighty app. Anyway, in the Flighty app, you can see your plane's flight and every single destination before coming up to your flight. So for our 9 p.m. flight, I was monitoring it all day, and it landed and arrived every single leg. And it was like 12 legs in the day, like 20 minutes early. But if one of them I saw was delayed or canceled, we wouldn't even left for the airport. We would have just known it's not going to happen. So I recommend, if you're going to do this type of flight, get Flighty, make it easier for yourself. So we got to talk about the next place we stayed, though, because of course we stayed in the Hyatt place overnight, but then we moved to the Mills house.
Ah, so cute.
You got to talk about this hotel.
I mean, it's like a historic hotel. So it has like that beautiful, like Charleston charm, that kind of, architecture. It's pink. It's very cute. And inside there's just some really lovely, like the little gift shop, and they do little paint and sips. I mean, it really is like a girly dream when you're inside the Mills house. And I loved they had a really great cafe downstairs. They had the bar. They had a great restaurant as well.
Champagne happy hour.
Yes, I almost forgot about that. That was great. I mean, you just sit there. I mean, there was definitely a play there, but respect, because you got us there. Free champagne. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, as we're sitting on this couches, literally just, I think, I don't know if it's every day. I don't remember the time. I didn't note that down. I think it's like from 4 to 6 every day or something like that. They just pour bottles of champagne in the lobby. And as we were sitting there talking, that's when the Hilton Vacation Club person came up to talk to us.
About points and miles.
Exactly. And hey, we can get a nice stay for you in Orlando or Vegas or some other part of the country through basically their timeshare program. But, it's for free champagne for a couple hours. I'll tolerate. It wasn't even the full sales pitch. It was just like, hey, do you want to sign up for this? Not like, hey, you're here, sit down and talk. We'll talk to you for 2 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't like a formal thing. But what I actually also liked is I feel like normally if they do free champagne, they do like a flute and they don't do a full pour. They were giving us like giant plastic cups and they were filling them. So like they were going through those bottles, like, I don't know, like 4 cups maybe per bottle maximum, because they were filling these giant cups like all the way to the top, which was a very generous pour. That was more like 3 actual flutes of champagne in like 1 cup. So they were not stingy at all. But it was a great location. It was very pretty. I mean, I thought it was just a really cute hotel, and I would definitely stay there again.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, the location-wise, I mean, walkable to so many great things, which we'll get to in just a second. But the pool was nice. The bar by the pool had frosé. I mean, everything about the hotel was fantastic. Again, it is a historic hotel, so I think it's been around since 18-something, maybe. So the rooms are not huge, at least the ones that we stayed in. But we stayed there for 2 nights. Our total stay in cash would have been $1,873, but we ended up staying using 100,000 points for 1 night and that free night certificate for the other. So our stay there completely free, essentially, which is always a win. But I was thoroughly impressed with Charleston. I had been through Charleston multiple times. I can't remember the last time. It's been well over 10 plus years since the last time I've been there. But to stay in like the heart of the historic district and be able to walk around, like Charleston was busy and it was popping.
And it was like early in the season. I mean, we went in April, so it's not like the season had started, but it was like the weather, I think, was perfect. It was warm, but it wasn't too hot. I wouldn't want to be walking around like in August.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Actually, I feel like it was like perfect timing being there in April, and like maybe in the fall would be a nice time to go back. Maybe it won't be as crowded, and that Chubby's shop will be open so you can check it out. It was the only store that wasn't open that you wanted to go to.
Yes, they have a huge shopping district that, or just through the streets that you walk. And if you're familiar with the brand Chubby's, I love that brand for shirts and swimsuits and stuff like that. And of all the shopping places we walk by, is the one place I actually wanted to go into, and it was closed.
Well, we went into other places and found other things. There's lots of cute shopping in Charleston. There's lots of great little bars, little restaurants. It's just very picturesque. It's very like old, country and just very cute. And I loved it.
You did some amazing research on where to go, so we got to talk about that. Before we do, I have to slap myself on the wrist and ring the shame bell a little bit because of two things that I messed up on when we were there. I didn't bring my Amex Personal Platinum. I thought I had it. I had my Amex Business Platinum on me. And the first thing is, it was much hotter than I'd say we both kind of realized it was going to be, or at least me. So I had like nice pants for everything and not nice shorts, and it was too hot for pants basically. So I went to Lululemon to get some of their like dressy shorts, and I could have used my Lulu credit for last quarter there, but I didn't have my personal platinum on me, so I just paid for shorts. And then the second was also involving the same card. One of the places that you picked that I know we're going to talk about, it was a Resi location. I kept reminding you, hey, this is going to be a Resi place, and we can spend more money because we have my card for a credit. And when it came time to pay, that's when I realized I had my business platinum and not my personal platinum. So why don't you talk about Marbled and Finn where we went?
I was going to say, at least I had the right card for that, and I could get a bit of a discount, which we needed because Marbled and Finn is a whole nother level, and we went for brunch. And I think that when we'd mentioned this place that people are so friendly in Charleston. They're like, oh, where are you going? What are you doing while you're in town? And I would mention we were going to brunch there, and a lot of people were like, I love that place. I didn't know they do brunch. So that was something I learned, is that apparently it's not very well known that they do a brunch, but it has a great reputation, and I was wowed. I mean, I'm trying to remember all of the things I had. They had caviar service. I did the in bone marrow, beautiful bone marrow. And I did something else. Oh, the caviar came in like a pie. It was like a tiered, right? Remember? It was like with the egg and the creme fraiche and just, it was great.
It was, and I say this with all the amazing places we've been in the world, the most incredible brunch I've ever seen in my life. I can't even quantify it into words appropriately. And it's not, as I've mentioned on the show, Taryn, she taught me what caviar was and fine champagne and such. So that is not my dining palate.
It is now.
It is now. It is part of it now. But if you're like, that sounds a little too rich for me, they did have amazing waffles and Benedicts and like chicken and waffles and classic American stuff.
Southern and high end. It was a really
incredible.
And the drinks, do you remember?
Oh my gosh, the cocktails.
Oh my gosh, the cocktails, the morning cocktails. Like their twist on the mimosa had like the foam on top.
Yeah.
And you had the espresso martini, which also was like a different take on it. So like everything was just honestly excellent. And I was so surprised at how, I mean, I had made this reservation, but I was so surprised at how empty it was because I assumed because it was so popular, but I guess it's because maybe people didn't know that they do brunch and it's more of like a date night dinner location is what is the vibe that I got from the people that I would mention it.
Yeah, I think maybe.
And I could see why. I feel like dinner there would be exceptional. I feel like we basically had like a brunch style dinner in the morning and that was just like our meal.
It was so much food. I think maybe it's because it's also outside of like the main Charleston historic area where everyone's walking. So we walked back home from it, but we Ubered there. But it's definitely walkable, especially in good weather. But yeah, as you said, I mean, it was pretty much empty. We went on a Saturday morning of all things. So, I mean, that alone was telling, or shocking, I should say. But this is also world-class steakhouse. So they have Wagyu, they have Angus, they have Australian black onyx steaks. I mean, this place was utterly incredible. And we could talk, the whole rest of the show could be this one place.
Honestly, we really could. But at least I got
really
my Resi credit because I brought my card. So, haha. And I would love to go back there again, though, if we go. But what about Leon's? That was a vibe.
Leon's, some of the best fried chicken I've had in my life.
Same.
That's all I can say.
That's saying something. Yeah, it was incredible. It was worth the wait. It's not a place you're going to be able to reserve. You're going to have to go wait. They do cocktails in the outside area, inside area. And they had a really good like mezcal old fashioned.
Great drinks, great bar.
Yeah, the cocktails were fantastic. The chicken was the best, and it was just a really great little local spot that is worth the wait. If you're in town and you love fried chicken, which I love fried chicken, this fried chicken was amazing. So don't miss that.
And you got oysters there, and the guy was like, "You have to try." I'm not an oysters person at all, and I even had one of them. I mean, like across the board, it was incredible. But the oysters are even good, and I don't like oysters.
Well, it wasn't raw oysters. You wouldn't have liked those. It was because they were cooked.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, no, the food was really good, and it sounds like it's pretty popular place to stop in if you're in town. So that was definitely worth the stop. But then I had to go and support Leva and our Bravo friends, and I wanted to go to Bourbon and Bubbles because one, I love the name, and I love I love bourbon and bubbles, and they had so many fun things on their menu as well. I ended up getting like the caviar grilled cheese. Right? Yep. And it was like so much caviar, and it was like a bit sweet and salty, and it was so good. And I feel like we were already like getting full. We had been like just eating so much. I think, because that was the same day. That's right. Yeah. So our brunch from Marbled and Finn, by the time that we went to Bourbon and Bubbles, which was dinner time, we were still like so full. I think I only could eat half of my caviar grilled cheese, and it wasn't because it wasn't exceptional. It's because like I still had stuffed myself so much from the morning, and I was just not hungry yet. But they had some really fun like champagne cocktails and like the biggest selection of bourbon I think I've ever seen in my life, actually. And I've been to Kentucky, and so I was surprised actually at the, there was some stuff on the menu that we'd never even heard of from some of our favorite distilleries.
Yeah, again, I mean, basically every place we went to in Charleston was a banger. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, it was just fantastic. This place was great.
Vibes are great.
The vibes were great. Yeah, it was fantastic. I think I don't remember all the drinks I had. I think I had at least one old fashioned. It had like a maple soaked bacon strip in it. Right? I mean, across the board, it was great. I mean, these are places that if you're going to Charleston, you absolutely need to put on your list to go. And I can't clarify enough or suggest enough, if you are a fan of fried chicken, like we were told, like you have to go to Leon's for their fried chicken in this entire southern city, and it delivered.
Yeah, it did not disappoint, which is like a lot. And if you like to party, may I recommend Republic Garden Lounge? And you can go, they do daytime stuff. We went at night. We got a VIP table because I've been watching Southern Hospitality, and I just wanted to do that. I wanted the sign. I wanted the bottle. I wanted that moment. And it was great. We had so much space, and we weren't even the only couple that like had our own VIP area. I loved that the couple next to us, it was just them also. And, because all the other tables are full of like bachelorette parties and groups of people, but then there was just like us and that other couple next to us that just had the tables, and we're just out like enjoying ourselves. And the music was fantastic. They also had frosé on tap as well, and I mean, again, the people, the vibes, top notch. So get a table if you're going to go to Republic. You'll definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, we're in that era of our lives where we still love the energy, the clubs, the vibe, but we also like space, and I love sitting. I love the ability to sit down. So if I can sit down and like, my back's getting a little tighter over the years, like being able to relax in the club but enjoy the club energy is kind of the era we're in, and so I'm all about it. And we've been to many places that have been impressed by us just taking two of us to a section, but we're having the time of our lives. It's great. So yeah, Republic was great. I know that you followed those shows for a number of years, and
the whole time. Yep.
Yeah. I had never heard of this place, but it did not disappoint. The energy was great.
And we saw someone from the show. We saw Lake, because she was working that day. I was curious to see who would be there, but Leva was out of town. Next time, Leva, I'll find you. That sounded creepy. I apologize. No, I'm just a big fan, and I really liked Republic. It was a lot of fun. The music was great. The dancing was great. And yes, it was nice to sit. And you know what? I think people will judge us, and they'll think that we're just bougie for getting tables. But no, we're getting old. That's the fact. And it's okay. We're okay with saying that. I want some space. I want to be able to sit and stand and not be packed like sardines at the bar like it was. It was so packed by the end of the night.
You couldn't barely walk to the bathroom, get to the bathroom.
It was just so packed. So yeah, I mean, no regrets on getting that. And honestly, the pricing for the VIP tables there are really like good.
Yeah, it's not Vegas.
It's not Vegas. It's not Ibiza. It's definitely, it's less than New York. I mean, it's way less. So, I mean, there are quite affordable options for tables there. And it definitely made a huge difference, I think, in the experience. So it was definitely worth it.
Yeah, it was. It was great overall. And pretty much everywhere we went, you spotted out, you picked out. Again, no notes, just Charleston. I'm happy to go back at any point.
Mwah, chef's kiss. We'll see you soon, Charleston.
Awesome. Well, Taryn, anything else before we wrap this one up? Charleston, stuff we did on the mid-year recap. I think we pretty much covered it all.
Yeah, I think we did. But Charleston was just as much and more than I expected, which is nice because a lot of places don't do that.
Well, Charleston, we will see you soon.
So if you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to follow us on all of the social media channels and sign up for our newsletter and private Facebook group as well to get insider information. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Take care, everybody.